are you asking me
Yes,
why
I'm
it's
literally
transphobic
asking
to
you,
say
why is
trans
it
women aren't women?
transphobic to say that I think women are biological determined and not psychologically determined?
The central social conceit of trans people and of political movements surrounding them is arguing that they are the gender they identify as. And
Okay.
determining that is not the case, or saying that that is not the case, is considered transphobic. For the
By
same
idiots.
reason, that like 17th century phrenologists tried to argue that black people weren't the same type of human as white people were. Now, you can adopt a 17th century phrenologist definition if you want to, and I also have the right to call you racist for it. So that would be kind of
Okay,
the line in the
you didn't
sand,
answer the
right?
question. So to say it's transphobic, you need to show that saying one is more or less in some sense. Just saying I factually disagree with how you define woman and I think this is the correct way to define woman doesn't imply anyone's more or less. It's just saying I disagree with your definition. That's not transphobic to disagree. That's the problem with
So
the woke
do you think a
community.
definition of human that excluded black people would be a racist definition?
It depends. It can be and it may not be.
So wait, hold on. You're arguing that there are ways in which you could define human that don't include black people and that wouldn't be racist.
Maybe if you had like some scientific evidence, if you literally
How
thought
do
there
you
was some massive
scientifically
added
decide
this is a
the
hypothetical
category of human?
So again, this is hypothetical. Like if someone injected alien DNA into African Americans, then they wouldn't be as human as other races. So
No,
yes,
I
you can
mean,
come up with a definition.
So
that
let's say right now you had a scientist who said, "Oh yeah, okay, there are two species of Homo sapiens on Earth. Okay, there are humans and then there are black people." And my definition, wait, please allow me to finish the hypothetical. And my definition of human has you have to have below a certain melanin count. Okay. Now, do you think that'd be a racist definition? Because it's scientifically accurate. You can determine the amount of melanin in the skin.
So again, that's irrelevant to the question. You asked, can you come up with a definition of human that would show one group was not the same? And yes, the obvious answer is yes. If they had DNA, which is the qualification of one of the features that makes someone human, was different.
Is a social construct.
No, it's
we
not.
arrived at that by determining.
I don't care about your social construct ideology. It's not.
Wait, T-jump. That's not an ideology. You can ask a scientist if you want to. The way in which we define species... Are humans
an empirical fact outside of any social construct? Yes, they are a species.
The category of humanity doesn't exist outside of our socially constructed category.
It definitely does.
T-jump. There's only so many layers of illiteracy that I can cut through in a moment. Let's just focus on social constructs for a second. Now, what a woman is, what woman means, is something that we kind of arrived at. We didn't understand what woman was like 300,000 years ago. How we've described what a woman is has changed over time. Likewise, our understanding of speciesation has changed over time. We describe these things in relation to how much utility they provide us. Now, it's possible to arrive at a definition of humanity that doesn't include black people, because you can arrive at a definition of anything as long as you're willing to change the definition. So would you think that's racist to be like, there are humans and
everything you're
people?
saying is just completely incoherent here. You're just not understanding how reality works. So science defines terms based off its correspondence to reality. We care about the reality thing, not the made up names thing. So you're too focused on the made up names thing, which just doesn't matter. So
how do you
when
determine
you're trying
speciesation? What determines whether or not two things are of the same species?
Lots of different criteria.
What criteria? And how do we arrive at those criteria?
We make our best guess through induction to try and describe what best describes reality.
Our best guess through induction to describe reality. Okay.
Yes.
So what processes, what methods would you use to arrive at that conclusion?
Science.
Okay. Like, let's say you have two species
This isn't complicated. Like I don't want to go into a debate about how social constructs.
Wait, no, but the ambiguity of your answer
Stop interrupting me. Let me finish.
Okay,
so I don't care about your deluded perception on social constructionism. It's false. There are factually different species. They factually exist. It is a fact of reality.
You're like centuries behind.
Wait, stop interrupting. Stop interrupting. We put labels on them to try to describe them to the best of our abilities. They do exist. So that's just, you don't get to debate this. This is a fact. If you deny it, you're denying the difference between elephants and bats. Again, so don't interrupt.
Okay,
so
but answer
there
that.
are factually things.
You're done.
Chairs are not facts. Chairs are not literal things that exist as a category independent of human minds. Species are. Species exist independent of human minds. Chairs don't. because they're determined by biology and things that have nothing to do with humans.
But I've
Shares are
spoken to
determined by
biologists, and they acknowledge that there is
I
a
don't care.
social element.
I don't- I
Wait,
don't
hold on.
care.
Wait, I know you don't care because you don't know anything what you're talking about.
No, I know more
So
than you
the
on this
process of speciesization is determined by a set of subjective categories that we've arrived at. You can ask any biologist this. This isn't secret social
you
justice
not
info.
understanding biology isn't my problem.
Have you read Charles Darwin?
Yes. Wait. So we come up with labels to describe things that exist
How do we
independent
come
of
up
our
with them?
labels. We make them up.
Okay. So let's say we have two squirrels that are very genetically similar.
This
How
is-
do we
this is not
determine
the
whether
topic
or
of the
not
debate.
they're wait, how do we determine whether or not they're the same species of squirrel or different species of squirrel?
We come up with a methodology that describes species and try to accurately label them.
Okay, I agree. Now, is that methodology in any way socially constructed?
Of course, the methodology. All methodologies are socially constructed.
So the methodology by which we determine whether or not two things are of different species is socially constructed.
Yes, the species themselves are not.
Okay.
Like the way
So-
we determine
but
between a
wait.
proton and a neutron is a method called science, which
Wait,
is
hold
socially
on.
constructed. The proton and the neutron are not socially
But
constructed.
species don't so when you say the method by which we distinguish between species is socially constructed, that determines the species. There's not like
Yes.
two different types of species, the ones we agree upon and the ones that already exist. There are only
Oh my
the
God.
differences we
I
agree
don't
upon.
want to have to
existing.
explain basic philosophy to you. This
Wait,
is the
hold
difference
on.
between
T-jump,
epistemology
T-jump.
and ontology.
No, hold on. Your understanding of philosophy here is literally millennia out of date. The idea
No,
that
it's not.
socialization
Vaush,
determines
you're
our
so ignorant on
categorization of
this.
the world.
Vaush, epistemology and
One second.
ontology. What epistemology is the theory of knowledge, how we learn things. Ontology is the facts of the matter independent of how we know things.
We can
Our
keep talking
epistemology-
about one thing. We can keep going there, but we are like, unless
Off
we can
topic,
quickly
yeah.
No,
tie
it's
it back
no,
to the
James.
topic, it
I
is-
would love to reel back to the thing. The problem is the statement that saying trans women aren't women isn't transphobic because definitions are objective is a statement so far removed from reality that you have to go all the way back to epistemology before you can even begin to correct how many ways that's incorrect.
No. Definitions aren't objective, but if the definition refers to something objective, then that's the thing they're talking about. So if they make a definition that is meant to refer to an objective feature of the world,
How do you
then
know
they're
what an
not
objective feature of the world is?
science.
How do you okay? How do you arrive at what an objective? Okay, so there are two types of speciesization. There's the stuff that we describe, the concepts that we arrive at through socialized processes. And then there's the objective species difference that you say exists ontologically. Now, how do you
Yes.
determine what is ontologically correct?
Epistemology. We use epistemology to try to learn about ontology.
Okay, so you agree that right now our understanding of species, this is like a red-tailed squirrel, this is like an alpine winter squirrel, whatever.
Yes, all of our understanding is subjective. It's all based off human conceptions.
Okay, so if you're arguing that all human understanding is based off subjective conceptualization, then of what relevance is ontological truth to our understanding of what a woman is?
Just classifying people differently, because your classification is based off some empirical objective facts, not based off of opinion, it's perfectly fine. It has nothing to do with racism, as long as you don't say they're better or worse in some
Right,
sense.
so the whole racism begins and ends at saying one group is better or worse than another is like a child's understanding of bigotry. There are many ways in which you can arbitrarily construct categorization to disadvantage groups without explicitly saying they're worse. What about people who defer to like early documents from the founding fathers to say that only white people in America... Wait, hold on. What about people who defer to old texts to say that only white people in America are actual Americans and that everyone else is just like an occupier or like a cohabilitator or something like that? If you wanted to go back and nitpick stuff the founding fathers said, you could probably make that argument. I mean, a lot of them were pretty goddamn racist. And then you would say, hold on. We're not saying all the black people here in America are worse or less of people, but they're not Americans. Now, you may argue this is a meaningless categorical distinction, and it's similar to what you're doing right now, but the fact of the matter is that there are real consequences to engaging in behavior like that.